Shinsuke Nakamura posted a picture of Asuka. Apparently, what I've been hearing all over the place, especially earlier today, especially from people like Wrestling Observer newsletter, was that I keep thinking about Kyrie, is that Asuka is reportedly said to have a mini retirement. So either she's going to go away for a little bit, or they're going to have her announce it. Or I mean, she even made an Instagram post of her looking out the window as I think a way of kind of indicating that she's leaving for a little bit. So I mean, if this is goodbye for now, or probably later, or something like that. I mean, it'd just be cool to see. I mean, it'd be cool to see this be her retirement. If this is her retirement, I don't think it'd be a bad way to go out. Her versus Io. So, I mean, it's not like Triple H has built any other stars on the women's division. So her going out, losing to Io wouldn't be so bad. But yeah, I mean, I wonder if this would be the end of Asuka, but until all that's confirmed, all of this is just speculation. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Backlash 2026 immediately feels like a Raw or SmackDown due to the stage setup. We start off the show with Triple H getting out of the SUV and being booed out of the building, which is pretty funny because the audience just immediately in unison booed Triple H out of the building before he even reached the building. But then after that, we got Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker. Easily Braun Breaker's biggest win of his entire career so far, hands down. It was really important. This is a match that he had to win. Like, there's no other way. But something about this match that's really unfortunate is the fact that Seth Rollins, he didn't feel confident, and you could see it. He said that he was wondering and questioning himself if he still had it. But he was trying to do a bunch of Will Ospreay things, and I'm not just comparing the two, but the dude legit attempted to do a few Will Ospreay maneuvers that Will does on a consistent basis. Specifically the landing on the feet in the Frankensteiner and the flip over, float over to another move. But then Seth Rollins, tried to do that, landed on his head and then sold it like he landed on his neck. So then Braun Breaker decided to do a moonsault, but it was a bit unfortunate to see. It was a very good match, but I mean, none of these matches were bad. Vision got involved, and then we saw Braun Breaker's flying clothesline or spear attempt turned into a super kick. Then we got Braun Breaker taking out Seth Rollins on the ringside, and then they even recreated the spear pedigree thing. But I mean, other than that, I mean, Braun Breaker was the correct winner. It should have been Braun winning. So good to see that. And then we get Sami Zayn coming out to massive boos, and then since the crowd are NPCs and trained seals and trained sea lions and all that garbage, they chant "Let's go" to Sami's music because the song's super over, even though that he's a heel, and the audience boos the dude literally when he comes out, but then says "Let's go," and then they start booing after they say "Let's go," and then just absolute silence afterwards. I don't get why the audience just can't just pick. I mean, obviously it's about the song, but still, if you don't like the person, then just don't participate with the song because it sends huge mixed signals. They chant "Let's go" for the music, but then they dislike the character. They boo Sami, say "Let's go" to his music, and then boo him again, and then they got quiet. So Sami Zayn's booking just it's unfortunate because it's not even his fault. He's hated off something Triple H did. All Triple H had to do was just not do Mello dirty by having Sami go over, but kind of sabotage Sami Zayn, and it's unfortunate. So then we get Trick Willie backstage saying some words, and then him and Lil Yachty come out. Trick Williams, Lil Yachty. I really hope they don't break up anytime soon. But then we get Lil Yachty being haluva kicked in the back of the head, which is pretty funny how Lil Yachty sold it. And then Trick Williams beat Sami Zayn again, so I'm pretty sure that they shouldn't have another match. I think this should be it because there's nowhere to go from here. They already did their gingerbread man thing. They had the rematch. They had the title on line both times. They shouldn't go back and forth. And then Lil Yachty made it rain like Big Meech. One of the fans actually posted them holding a $1 bill, so that was pretty cool. And then we get get Miz and Kit Wilson versus Danhausen, a mystery partner. But then the crowd, it was pretty much a clone of Danhausen, and the crowd booed it like crazy. Like the audience was really loud with the boos. But I understand. I mean, if I paid $1 trillion to be in attendance and $30 just to watch this from home, and I see this, I understand why they booed completely. They booed it out of the building. It wasn't even. Bro, it was honestly extremely underwhelming. Then on top of that, after all the other clones ran out of the cloning machine, it was just a copy and paste of WrestleMania 42 when they all jumped on Kit Wilson after punching him in his nuts. You know, it was just. It's whatever. But yeah, Danhausen beat The Miz, and I mean that's it really. So. And then after that, when they're all on stage, they scrambled. I guess they didn't plan where they were going to go before then because the lights turned off, and then they just started scrambling out of confusion like a bunch of roaches. You know, like it wasn't coordinated. So I guess that was just something that they needed to plan before then, but they didn't. But it made for a funny comedic effect. Io and Asuka, but something interesting that it's not. It's not a good thing. So if I didn't know this was Backlash just from the stage design, I think that I'm watching Raw, but on a Saturday, because like if you're looking at this steel shot and you just compare it and you're looking at the stage, looking at the setup, and you look at Io, it's like you're watching Raw. Because of how lazy they are with the stage designs, it just feels like I'm watching Raw. Like in this picture, if you didn't see the Backlash electric billboards, the banners, you think you're watching Raw, and that's not a good thing. But then another thing that makes me glad about Io's entrance is the fact that, I can go every day thankful that she didn't get Def Rebel and they kept Tokyo Shock. Because, WWE's just, once they hear a good theme song, they're like, no. We got to ruin it some way, somehow, which is really unfortunate. So, yeah, we get Asuka and Io having a great match, couple botches here and there, but, it's, these ladies, like, if you put them in the ring, they're not going to have a bad match whatsoever. Now, all of these matches were solid for the night, just the end of this match was interesting. And, we get the spot of the night, which would be, Io using Wade Barrett's notepad as a shield against the miss of Asuka. But the thing that I find interesting about the end of this match is the mutual respect hug, because not too long ago, I think last week or whatever, we had Io getting spit in the face by Asuka, and then Asuka talking down on Io, and then even the week before then, Asuka talking about how she's going to erase Io from history or whatever, but also disrespecting Io, and but the mist in the face, when she spit in her face, it was during an interview backstage or whatever. And then she was talking about how much she doesn't like Io, how she's going to take everything away from her, and it was like 4 days ago. So now they're like, it's just the way that ended. With all of a sudden just a random switch, it's interesting to see, like, just in a matter of 4 days or whatever, 4 or 5 days, they're hugging in the middle of the ring. I mean, of course, I feel like things would have been different if Triple H didn't handpick Kyrie to be fired, but the ending to this whole thing was just strange, considering what happened last week with Io being misted by Asuka. So yeah, it was a very strange ending. Very strange ending to see them hugging like that after just last week she was talking about how she's going to erase you, destroy you, take everything away from you. And I mean, she didn't take anything away. She took a hug from Io. She didn't take everything away from her, but yeah, So then we get John Cena in a suit again, which kind of makes me laugh every time because I'm not used to seeing this on TV. So we get John Cena coming out, and he does his he does his pose when he's like standing upward and his fist out. It's pretty funny. So then it's just talking about how there's going to be a new event called a John Cena Classic. It's pretty much an annual. It's going to be an annual run back of the Saturday night's main event, NXT people versus the main roster people, and it's going to be a John Cena Championship and I'm curious to see what it's going to look like, and I hope it spins. Other than that, there's nothing really much that came from this announcement. So then we get the main event, Roman versus Jacob. Jacob runs at Roman, and then Roman hits him with a shoulder tackle or a clothesline or something like that. And then Jacob gets right back up, and then Roman throws up the ones, and Roman makes a hilarious face. So then and then they go outside, Tongan death grip, and then he power bombs Roman through the table, and then does the mighty moonsault. Such a stupid name for a good move. So yeah, the mighty Morphin Power Rangers moonsault. Gets hit on Roman, and Roman kicks out at 2, and then Roman hits Jacob with a Superman punch, spear. Jacob kicks out at 2.999999999, just like it says on the hand sanitizer bottles. Roman beat Jacob clean as a whistle. I mean, he didn't cheat, or there was no interferences. And as far as him taking off the turnbuckle pad, he didn't use the exposed steel turnbuckle. So I mean, Jacob lost as clean as a whistle. So all of this just to lose clean on the first match. So I mean, it's not like they're going to have a trilogy where Roman wins all 3 matches for the world title. So where do they even go from here? I mean, unless they're clearly not going to end it because Jacob spamming the Tongan death grip after the match, but Jacob already lost clean, so what else do we really need to see? That's my big question, honestly. Just a very anticlimactic finish, because after Jacob gets pinned, he comes back and attacks Roman, and then he leaves, and then he attacks Roman again, then he attacks Roman again, and then he attacks Roman again, and then he attacks Roman again, comes back, attacks Roman again, and then he holds up the title that's not his, and then of course this is supposed to be like him, being the sore loser or whatever, but it's just very, like, just to end off a pay-per-view, just, all right, well, we're just going to have Jacob attack Roman about, a few times, and then we'll go off the air. That was very just anticlimactic. That's about it, really.